Final hour overdrive continues. TSN 1050 on the TSN app. Your home smart speaker up on TSN 2. Bryan Hayes, Doug, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles, McLennan. Big hour. Team Luke Bryan will be reunited. Luke Willson will be in studio here. O-Dog and Company will be established.
Dude, stop saying O-Dog. I know you're saying it because you think it's stupid.
I think it's awesome.
No, I don't. I think there's possibility for greatness.
You just need a hat, like one of those flat brim hats that just says O-N, like not and, N, Co.
Okay.
Owen Co.
Yeah. I think we can make that happen, right? We generally get hats made. I forgot to bring my Luke Bryan hat in. That's fine. It's fine. Because you know what? Today we don't really need it because, it appears as if you're going to be on the clock. All right? We are a democracy on this show, and we were asking people on Twitter at OverDrive 1050, who do you want to see make the first pick of the season? And O-Dog and Company has come in with 60% of the vote, and the polls are now officially closed. Oh, you're about to be on the clock, all right? We'll wait for Luke to come in here, but I hope you have information. I hope you're ready, and you're going to announce, right, if you have anyone that's going to be partnering up with you, if you're possibly working with someone behind cloak and dagger, is there someone in the background there that doesn't necessarily want the notoriety of being attached to you publicly, but is putting in work behind the scenes? We'll find out more on that momentarily.
Momentarily. Let me guess, you're waiting for Luke to come from SportsCenter?
Yes, Luke is currently doing SportsCenter, and then he's going to make his way over.
Do you have like an outside guess, though? I have one like crazy guess.
Okay.
Who could be his potential?
You want to reveal that person?
Well, should I? I mean, do you want me to
Go
start
ahead.
the guess?
Go ahead, take a guess.
He has a mustache and has had it for 50 years.
Ooh, the Tat Man. And he's a big Detroit Lions fan, too.
He is. I will say the Tat Man was in strong consideration.
Wow. Okay. Fair enough.
I did some interviews. I had some phone conversations. I just wanted to get general knowledge about their knowledge of football and what the picks would look like, what their strategies are, our disappointment last year. So there's been tons of conversations.
All right. So you're seeking out the best possible person for the job. That's what you're saying. Like, this has been a long, drawn-out, exhaustive process where you're looking to find the best possible person for the gig.
Yes,
that's
and
what it sounds
like. The package, the total package, just came together possibly as early as this morning.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Well, listen, the big reveal will be coming up momentarily. Luke Willson will join us in studio. Again, if you're just tuning in, Travis Kelce is out tonight. The line is down to 3.5. Chiefs by 3.5 on FanDuel. So O's going to have his pick. O and Company coming up with the picks. And again, Luke Willson will join us in studio here in just a moment. Before Luke comes in, we can reset our conversation we had with about Jake Sanderson and his new deal in Ottawa, where he got himself an 8-year deal at around $8 million per. He's the 5th overall pick, stud. You love him. You've seen him up close and personal a lot. You're a big believer in what he's going to become.
Yeah.
But there's always a ripple effect, right? It's like if Sanderson gets 8 years at just over 8 and he's barely played in the league, what is Rasmus Dahlin going to get? Yeah. What is Devon Taves going to get next year?
Wasn't there rumblings today on Twitter about Dahlin getting 10 something?
Yes. I think the guys down in Buffalo, Andrew Peters, Craig Rive, I think they were saying, they're hearing anyway, that it's like an 8-year, $10.5 million deal. That seems very reasonable. Dahlin was one of the 5 best defensemen in the league last year.
And again, look at the market.
Yeah.
You add cold weather tax, market tax, all of that. Like, not every place is, a mecca. New York, L.A., Toronto, like some of these cities that are coveted because not what it brings, right? Buffalo.
What about the I don't want to be here tax? If he had told the team, I'm just going to hang on and I'm probably going to move on like other guys have done. So you do the deal.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I mean, it's going to be another 8-year deal. That happens everywhere else but in Toronto. Okay, that's fine. But I think with the cap going up, like Dahlin exploded the last 2 years.
Yes.
And last year in particular, he was a stud. And that guy was a first overall pillar to post prospect.
And don't kid yourself,
was the
his
Dahlin
last
draft.
deal, he only got his last deal from his pedigree because he was not very good in those struggles in Buffalo.
It took him a while to become a player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they gave him some kind of bridge at like 3 or 4 years at $6 million or something, and I was like, man.
Yep, he hadn't proven himself.
Do you remember this conversation? This is the one that kind of whatever you think of him, Randy Carlisle had a comment one day about Jake Gardner. Remember the noise about Jake Gardner around here? Free Jake Gardner, and the agent goes on Twitter, and this poor guy is stuck in the minors.
Right.
And Randy Carlisle came out and said, give a defenseman 300 games because it takes a little longer to develop. It's forwards quick. You can force them into the lineup because you can hide them on the wing. You can do whatever. Defensemen, and then it's goalies. And that's kind of the thought process in the development curve. And I remember Carl, it stuck with me for the longest time because there was all these people, you dope. This guy's a great player and all. And it took the defenseman a while to settle in. Dahlin, it took him a while to become super elite. He's elite.
But you look at what Ottawa's done with Jake Sanderson. This is an example of where Buffalo probably wishes they could go back and have signed him to 8 years at $6 million.
Right.
Because he probably would have taken it. Right?
Yeah,
like he was
time.
young. He hadn't really proven himself. He had a lot of struggles. And
Right.
if they put after, year 2 of his entry-level deal, they said, we'll give you 8 years at $6 million because we believe. They could have sold it as if they were doing him a favor.
Yeah,
he probably would have taken it.
Probably.
And then he'd have another 5 years at $6 million as opposed to next year having to pay him 10.5 or 11.
But,
that's why you jump the gun in guys that you really believe
Let's
on.
not kid ourselves. You throw a young kid 8 times 8, they're pretty much, don't you think they're having a meeting with their parents and they're like, oh my God, you signed that thing right now.
Well, and that's, again, to bring it back to Toronto, we keep talking about it as if it's only the players' fault that they won't take 8. That was on the team as well. The team did not do that. Right. Dubas, Lou, whoever it was, they had an opportunity after Matthew's second year to say, hey, can we lock you up 8 years at something? Yeah. Or Mitch Marner after 2 years, or Willie after 2 years. They didn't do it.
Yeah.
They kept saying, well, patience is a virtue. We're going to take our time here. Then they signed Tavares, and all of a sudden they're like, now we're screwed. Yeah. Now these guys are going to hold their feet to the fire, and we're only going to get so many years, and we're only going to give so much money out. Yeah. And there's an example of it where it's not always going to work. There are going to be mistakes. There are going to be guys who get big deals. Yep. Right, like we've seen it in this country recently. Obviously, Sanderson just got it. Cole Caulfield just got it in Montreal. Yeah, like Caulfield has been in the league for a couple of years. He's
number
a good player.
7, 8, or
it's up around $8 million. Right, Suzuki got a similar deal. They're banking on those guys growing into studs that are going to be worth a lot more than $8 million per.
Right,
but one of them, at least one of them, will not. One of them will be injury riddled or really underperforming or a cancer in the room or something will pop up with one of these players league wide where you take a gamble and then that'll be used as the example as why you shouldn't do it. But generally speaking, if you're doing this with young, first round studs, it's probably going to work out for you. It's probably going to be sound business to do that. And that's what Ottawa's thinking.
At what clip do you think the stud rate is for the whole league? Is it 50%, the guy turns out to be a stud, all these young kids locking up for 8 years at big money, 2 or 3 years into their career? What's the stud rate in your mind?
I think it's more than 50%.
There haven't been too many, can you think of too many mistakes? I could think of one, and I think Pierre Dorian was Colin White. They signed him to 6 years at 4 something.
There's a great example.
They bought him out.
And he's just,
but he was a young guy. And
first round pick, though, but a miss.
But you know what? It was a miss for that fit, and it just didn't. They bought him out, and they admitted it, moved on, and that's it. You're not going to have a home run every time. These situations you point out, Jake Sanderson, 5th overall pick, he wasn't hiding. This guy's been a stud everywhere he's played. So you expect, he's going to continue to be a stud. Not everybody gets the Boston treatment where it's McAvoy puts his hand up and goes, yeah, I'll take, 4.8 or something like that on that bridge deal, and
well, now he's getting paid.
He's getting paid, but he's a stud. He's a legit. Where would McAvoy fall for you?
In terms of defenseman league-wide, he's in the top 10 for sure.
Yeah, so
no question he's in the top 10.
That's the thing. You're right for me. I think he is too. It's just, I think the top 10 fills up a lot quicker than you think.
Yeah?
Because is Quinn Hughes going to be in that, or is he in that conversation?
The guys, we don't have to go down the list.
Yeah, exactly.
But McCarr's going to come up. Fox is going to come up. Hedman, I think Yossi's still there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Devon Taves, the guy that's probably going to get a lot of love.
But, there's going to be that next wave of guys. Is Bowen Byram, if he could stay healthy, is he ever going to be a top 10 guy? That type of player. Any of these L.A. players, some of these, the studs on the back end, L.A. has a they had a ton of right-handed shot D that they were, you're willing to move Jersey. I think it was the Jersey moved to.
Yeah, they did. Arizona, I think you went to.
So there was a lot of musical chairs, but I look at it. You come back to Buffalo, like he's a stud.
Yeah, Darlene's he's a pillar, man. He's a pillar of an organization.
Yeah.
If he won a Norris this year, it wouldn't be surprising. Forget 5 years from now.
Could easily do it.
Easily do it. Last year, I don't think he wasn't nominated, but he would have been in the top 5, I would guess, for votes.
Was.
What do you have, 78 points or something? Like he had 70 plus, I believe.
I'd have to check. Like I was one of the voters. I feel like his name was hovering.
Yeah.
If he wasn't
top
Buffalo
5, was winning
right
a bunch
there.
of games. It was that Tage Thompson that was lighting it up, but
Right.
Darlene was right behind him carrying
Where
the
does
mail.
that kid fall?
That's
in the top 50
we
type
just
of thing?
got
We
the email this morning. Yeah, we're all going to be looking ahead. I mean, Thompson's clearly going to be in the top 50 projected. Probably in the top 20, I would think.
I don't know. Like people that value goal scoring, obviously, yes. Like
He's got size, though. Like
he's a complete package.
he's nasty,
He'll be a
man.
top 15. He'll be in the top 15.
Yeah, he might be.
You're right. It's just who comes out. Like that's where I struggle with, where it's like, okay, a guy who had a down year last year, but I looked at him to go, kind of back up or into that top 10 or top 15. But then you've got young players that push through. Jason Robertson, is a guy that I think climbs the ladder if he wasn't there already, So it's interesting to see because when I do my list, I struggle with it because I'll draw it up and then I sleep on it and go back and then I start moving. Like, why the hell is that guy at 35? And you start moving players around.
Yep, you're evaluating your own list and you're being critical of your own list.
And I get
let alone
mad.
other people's lists.
I get mad. I'm like, why is this guy not higher? Oh, I completely there was one last year I left somebody right off the list.
I know it's embarrassing when you do that.
Oh, it is. It's tough. I do it every year.
You get an email
Quizmaster
be like,
you don't have that guy.
That's interesting. You don't have that guy.
You sure Jack Hughes didn't make your list?
Yeah.
But it happens naturally. But
right.
You hope it.
Not this year. This year we're going to perfect it.
Be on top of it.
All right. Sure. Luke Willson's coming in. All right. We're going to hit a break. We're coming back. O-Dog and Company will reveal his company. All right. We're going to find out who's riding shotgun with the O-Dog this year. And Team Luke Bryan will be reunited. All right. During the break, we're going to put the banner up in here. We're going to do the ceremony. We're going to make sure everyone's in good spirits. And we're picking winners tonight. All right. The O-Dog's on the clock. He's going to pick the game tonight. We're going to look ahead to the season. We got a lot to get into. Our main man, Luke Willson, he will be in studio next. All right, here we go. Overdrive continues. Brought to you by FanDuel. And it is go time, man. The NFL season kicking off tonight. Team Luke Bryan has reunited. The banner's up in the rafters. We had a little ceremony there, right? Celebrating past championships. And hey, listen, we didn't label ourselves the greatest gambling duo of all time. People in Vegas have been doing that.
Just happened.
Not us.
Just happened.
Not us.
I do have a quick statement about last year and going into this season.
Okay.
I had the opportunity. I wrote it down here so I'd get it right. I had the opportunity to spend the summer with O-Dog, golfing and being bros. I never understood how much of a football savant this man is. That being said, after being part of a historical championship run on Team Luke Bryan, I've decided to leave the team and join O-Dog on Team.
Take that for O-Dog and Company. Take that for O-Dog and Company.
Are you kidding me?
Hang on, let him finish.
On Team O'Win Willson. O''WIN. Owen
Yes.
Wilson.
Read it
I would like to
again.
thank Hayes
Owen
for.
Wilson.
I would like to thank Hayes for his invaluable contributions to last season's championship, and I wish him all the best.
Oh my
I'm sick
God.
over this. I'm sick over this. I feel like Marty
How's that
Jannetty.
for O-Dog and Company?
Oh, my
Owen Wilson.
What kind of deal is this? What a brutal transaction. Are you kidding me? This is who the company is?
This is crazy.
Your company is Luke Willson.
Wow.
That's gutless. That's gutless. It's
How's
a sandbag.
that?
I
You
feel
like that?
I
You
feel
like
like
that?
Marty Jannetty right now, and this guy's Shawn Michaels. I just got drop kicked right through the glass.
That's incredible.
That's gutless. I'm Marty Jannetty. And the Heartbreak Kid, you had a great career after Marty Jannetty. No one ever heard of him again. Marty
Joe
Jannetty
from
was
the
a
bridge.
nobody.
Joe
after
from the
that.
bridge. Before we continue, please change our name. It's O'Win, W-I-N, O apostrophe,
Win.
O'Win Willson.
That's godless.
O'Win Willson
That's
is the name of
godless.
the
Wow,
new team.
I did not see that coming.
I didn't either.
Swear.
I didn't either.
I thought there was going to be a lot of blustering, a lot of making fun of that guy over there.
Oh
Just
my
like,
God! I
you know,
can't believe we're starting a new season. What a script!
Wow.
What a script!
You got to
I
find
had to
I
make
love
a
it.
move. I
No,
had
fine.
to make a move. I had to go soprano on it, and
Wow.
I had to just
An
do
offer
some
I
dirty
couldn't
things.
refuse. You know?
I just
This
got
is something.
absolutely sandbagged by these two. I can't
did.
believe that just happened. I mean, what a turn of events where
Wow.
you're leaving the greatest gambling
Gambling duo.
duo in history. Like, do you understand the run we went on
Yeah,
last year? No
Owen
one's ever seen
Wilson.
anything like
It was
Owen
iconic.
Wilson.
It was
Owen
iconic.
Wilson.
that. Okay.
It
Wow.
says defects.
Owen
I'm a
Wilson.
defector.
That is insanity. Like that,
Wow,
I was.
Benedict Arnold.
When I saw you open your
Compensation.
No
What a
compensation.
trade.
Just a loser on his own.
zero.
Look at him by himself. What a loser. What a loser. He's got no friends. Look at Owen Wilson.
God.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I can't
I love
believe that
that.
just happened. Man, that
Will-
sounded like a hostage note, didn't it? Like the way this
like
guy
he's
was
reading
reading.
this. I was.
Amazing.
I'm like, he opened his notebook. Like, why is he reading
I
a
know.
statement? Like, I thought you were just going to be like, hey, I wanted to thank everybody, and you know what, ready to kick his
sickening.
ass again. I did not see that coming.
I didn't. You know what I thought he was going to do? I thought he was pulling a Dubas. I thought O was going to build it up and say, I'm the greatest, and I'm going to be
yeah,
the
look in
president
the mirror and go,
GM.
you are the guy that I chose.
Wow. Instead, he brings
I
Luke
love
Wilson.
it.
All right. Owen
Wilson.
I got to get that right.
Win
All right.
Wilson. Love it.
Yeah, Rob really breaking my heart saying Team Fluke Bryan is officially over. Fluke Bryan.
That's good.
Yes. Fluke
good.
Bryan.
Fluke Bryan is RIP. All right. Well, guess what? You walk in and you're on the clock. You want to show the camera what you brought in here, too?
I'm putting it on.
Look at this mojo. This guy's got his Lions
I don't
helmet
know why
on.
if B'll stay in here. Can you still hear me?
Is that your game-worn helmet?
It is my game-worn helmet. It's
You're
pretty
kidding
heavy.
me. That helmet looks massive. Can you imagine running into someone, Noodles, with that helmet on?
Like you see in the scrimmages and stuff, what is the thing that they have on top of the helmet?
Yeah. They've got padding on top of the helmet, right?
That's
Can you hear
like the
us, or is
Great
it going
Gazoo.
down on you?
I might have went down. I might have just broke my earpiece.
Yeah,
I think
probably
you just
pulled it
knocked
out.
out your earpiece.
Yeah.
I
You know,
mean,
this
listen,
is
from one loser team to another. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Why these helmets are funny. I was telling a story. This is like one of the newer ones, I think. But I remember we had a linebacker on our team in Seattle named Brock Coyle, and he had went to play in San Fran, was playing a bunch there, and I had to block him one time. I had blocked this guy in practice a bunch. He had one of these new helmets on. I'm like, there's no way this guy did that much in the offseason in the weight room. It's got to be the new helmet.
Right.
So the next week, these things are weapons.
I know.
man. They're not
Those things are
protecting anything.
massive, man. Those things are absolutely massive.
That being said, what's the line for the Lions?
All right, so give us the updated line here. We might need you to make sure your earpiece is in because your company over here, the
Right.
O-Dog, needs to make sure that he can hear you. Can you hear? Is your earpiece working?
I think that just. I think
Are
that
you
just
back?
got it.
Back.
It might just be the helmet doesn't allow for technology.
I'm
to get
back
through.
now.
All right, he's back. All right, what is the line here, Grappler? What are we betting on tonight?
The line on the FanDuel Sportsbook app is Chiefs at -3.5.
Okay, that's the line. Lock it
Wow.
in. Team O'Win Wilson.
Wow.
Yeah, it opened at
To start-
6.5.
To start the franchise off properly, I would like to have Luke Wilson on behalf of Owen Wilson to make our first selection. We
Okay.
have talked about it today, and I think we were in agreement at a different time today. But if anything's changed, Pards, go ahead.
That's so hard.
If anything's changed, Pards, go
That's
ahead.
really, really difficult.
3.5's the line.
3.5 is
Travis
the line.
Kelce's out. Chris Jones is out. Here's my thing. We're going with the Lions. All right. I got the bucket in. I got the hat in here.
I
But
love it.
this is my take on this thing. The Detroit Lions, there's a lot of hype about them. They finally have a chance to be included, not sit, but included at, let's call it the big boy table.
Wow.
Okay. This team is supposed to be good. On paper, they are very good. They need to come out and make a statement. If they lose this one 34-31, Mahomes does Mahomes things, I won't be upset. I really won't. But if they come out here with a team that's missing Chris Jones, that they should be able, with the Lions offensive line, they should be able to run the ball at will on this team and not win or at least keep this game extremely close. I mean, I've said this. This is my 50th time saying this in my life. I will never like the Lions again. This division is theirs to lose. On paper, they are very, very good. Not a Super Bowl team, but very good. They need Chris Jones is out.
Yep.
Travis Kelce's out.
Yep.
For the love of God, as a kid who grew up in LaSalle, Ontario, just outside of Windsor, please play well tonight.
All right.
Please play well.
Wow.
We're taking the Lions. We got 3.5 points. I think Kansas City will win. I think it's going to be 34-31. We'll win on the half a point. O-Dog will be 1-0.
Go ahead.
And
Go
hashtag O'Win Willson, hashtag Hards.
Okay. You know what? You kept talking about guys who aren't playing tonight, and I appreciate that. Travis Kelce's not playing. He's a great player. Chris Jones not playing. Great player. You know who is playing tonight?
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes is
And
playing
Andy
tonight.
Reid is coaching.
And Andy Reid is coaching tonight.
That's very fair.
And here's what I love about the fact that you guys are on the Lions, because of course you're on the Lions. Dan Campbell.
All of a sudden, we're a couple of dummies. Is that the way it works?
The last time you were a connection, it was horrendous. But here's what has probably been happening all summer. Luke Willson, I'm sure you can attest to this. Dan Campbell, who thinks he's the smartest guy in the world, probably game planning for how I stop Travis Kelce. How do I stop Travis Kelce? That's probably what he put all of his eggs into the basket with. How do I possibly stop Travis Kelce?
Talk. Do you
now
not think
he's
there was
got
an
a game
adjustment
plan.
a week ago when he figured out he might be not playing?
No, not quick enough. Dan Campbell, I don't think he's quick enough on his feet. I think they're going into the game tonight. I think in a reverse psychology way, the Chiefs actually benefit from Kelce not playing tonight because I don't think the Lions are going to know how to game plan. I don't think the Lions are going to be able to compensate because all they've been doing is how do we stop Kelce? And now Kelce's out. They don't know who to stop.
Hang on a second.
they don't know who to stop.
Cards,
That's fair.
Cards.
But-
Can you talk to him about how crazy that comment is?
All right, go ahead. He wants. Do I have to be an interpreter here?
Yeah,
No,
I've
he
got
can
some
hear it. He
technical
can hear it.
difficulties. I think the Lions helmet, hopefully not the first, hopefully the only loss of the season, has destroyed my earpiece.
Okay. We can get you a headset, right, Grappler? We
But,
can figure something out if we need to.
I'm with you on that, and I do think that the Lions' weakest, I mean, their defense is not the greatest, but I think to me the biggest issue is, and I'm going to be very blunt when I say this,
All right.
will Dan Campbell and this staff call the game like it's a game of Madden between me and my buddies? And that scares me.
Right.
Where it's like, just come out here, play hard-nosed football, run the ball. You know how you stop Patrick Mahomes? Keep him off the field.
That's valid.
Fair.
You've got the best offensive line, or one of. Let's put the Eagles in there.
They got a great line, though.
They've got a great line. Remember those all like, yo, we're going to bite people kneecaps lines?
Yeah.
Now's the time to do it.
Okay.
The whole country's watching. Canada's watching. The States are watching. Any football fans
Yeah, this
watching.
is
It's
prime
opening
time.
day, and you're playing the Super Bowl.
But is
prime
the
time at
moment
Arrowhead.
too big for Detroit? Are they ready to handle that, though?
It's been 70 years since they've been able to handle anything.
Yeah.
If not now, when?
I will give them, you got to remember,
fair.
the last time we saw them, they went into Lambeau Field and broke hearts, man. And that was Sunday Night Football, Week 18. The whole world's watching. Can they find a way to stop the Packers from getting in the playoffs? And they did. They showed up. They balled. They played really well.
Right.
So I listen. You are what your record says you are. They were 9-8, I believe, last year. That's not good enough to make the playoffs. But what have you done for me lately? The last time we saw Detroit, they look good. They look good. And I think they're probably better on paper this year.
They did draft a running back 12th
That
overall.
Gibbs, though, man, he looks like a stud, doesn't he? Like,
Yeah,
he
does,
better be
but
a stud.
The rest of the league is not even signing some of the best backs in the league.
That's Detroit.
The Lions are drafting them in the top 15.
I love it. All right. Okay. Well, so in a way, are we starting to get to a point with the game tonight, even though you just said you think Kansas City probably still wins like 34-31. We're talking. There's a difference between covering the number and actually winning outright.
Yeah.
But with Kelce out, Jones out, all this hype around Detroit, is Mahomes like this underdog figure tonight? Like in a weird way at Arrowhead on primetime? Are we talking about Patrick
Not
Mahomes trying to
possible.
prove
Not
himself?
possible.
No. I mean, I don't
can't,
think so.
right?
And to me, I mean, my parts O-Dog will probably agree.
God, it sounds so bad with throwing the other way.
God, doesn't it?
It's such an obnoxious terminology. I hate it now. Like, I hate it.
It's my parts. It's my
Partsy.
parts. Go ahead, Partsy.
Mahomes is the best player in the NFL. He's
Yeah.
the best player in the NFL.
Okay.
I mean, and that's the thing where, to me, Kelsey's out, and you've got this chemistry with Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes and the level he played, especially to end the season. It's going to be Sky Moore. you're going to see Blake Bell get a couple catches. Kelsey's back up. You're going to see, I wouldn't even be surprised to see Kadarius Toney get involved. Mm-hmm. He's kind of proven time and time again. Obviously, it's great to have Travis Kelce, but when you're playing at the level Mahomes is playing, it don't really matter who's in there with him. If they've got any sort of ability, he's going to make it work. Like the guy just finds a way to make plays.
He's incredible.
Right.
He's incredible. Luke Willson in studio. Who do you think is Mahomes' biggest threat for that MVP pursuit? Who would be, like, if Mahomes is the odds-on favorite to win the MVP again, who do you think would be number 2?
To me, I know a lot of people would want to say Jalen Hurts, but to me, it's not. And it's not a matter of ability for Jalen Hurts. Where my head goes is I think the Eagles roster, by far, is the most talented roster in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So you look at Jalen Hurts and you look at Patrick Mahomes, and it's one of those things where I could foresee the Eagles really getting in front of teams early. They have a great defense, and their run game is phenomenal. So you're going to see a lot of fourth quarters of the Eagles where they're up 10 points, and they've got 4 backs that are all studs, and they're handing the ball off, and Jalen can run, and they've got a great offensive line. So I think that takes stats away from Jalen Hurts.
Right.
So to me, if I had to rival someone, and this is another hot take, and I'm riding this bandwagon pretty heavy, but it's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you want to talk about the NFL bad boy right now? Ooh. It's Aaron. I mean, you're a Packers guy. Yeah. You've seen the ability this guy has.
I was going to just ask you this, Luke. Tell us how this plays out. Tell us how the transaction of Rodgers being extracted from Green Bay going to the Jets, how does it play out for both sides? The Jets, how are they going to be, and the Pack, how are they going to be?
It's my honest opinion that both teams won. And I know that might sound nuts, but I'll start with the Packers. And I think you saw this last year with my former team, the Seahawks, where sometimes when you have a veteran quarterback that becomes that disgruntled, everybody in the entire building walks on eggshells. And you get the new coaching staff in there with LaFleur, and they butt heads with Aaron, and Aaron wants to do one thing, and they want to do something else. Where now all of a sudden, you got a young quarterback in there, young players, young coaches, and it's almost like a sense of relief, like, hey, we're going to do what we want to do now. Our identity, we don't have to worry about Aaron Rodgers, crucifying us or, really asking for our jobs. So you can now operate with a lot more freedom as a coach. And I think as a player, too, it's like I'm buying into the system. So I think the Packers, maybe not in the exact, moment, but in the long term, it's a big win for them to kind of move on from Aaron because that relationship was fractured.
Yeah. We're starting to – I've referenced a couple of different pieces. We had Dan Patrick on last hour. He thinks they're going to win the North. And I've seen a couple of different people.
If the Lions don't win the North this year, they'll never win it.
Yeah,
they should just they should become a college team.
That's valid. Yeah. I mean, they got all that hype, but I don't know, man. I wouldn't be shocked if the Lions found a way to puke all over themselves. That's happened before.
There's a high possibility the Lions lose by 45 points today.
Right, exactly. They just flat out don't show up.
They've done it forever.
Yes. Because that's got to be concerning as well. A team that is reading the press clippings, right? The team that hasn't done it yet, but they're like, everyone's
the moment, the moment
agreed.
big.
It's a big moment.
We talk about last year and they spoiled Green Bay's playoff chances for sure, but how much easier is it to be the underdog? Pete Carroll used to always say that. He'd say it, and I remember I was a young kid. He was like, I hate underdogs. Everyone always says, I love a good underdog story. Mm-hmm. And Pete used to say, it's so easy to be an underdog. You got nothing to lose. Well, now all of a sudden, the tables have turned for the Lions. They should be the favorite in this division. They have everything to lose. And I'm not saying at all if they don't win tonight, it's over.
Right.
But if they come out tonight and lay an egg and lose by 30, which in the back of every real Lions fan,
they're expecting.
That thought is, even when I made the pick earlier, I brought the helmet in. I'm like, I got to bear the brunt of this on Twitter if the Lions lose by 30. Mm-hmm. And if that happens, that will deflate, I think, a lot of, the culture, the players in the locker room, everything that's going on there. And again, they'll end up probably being 9-8, and we'll all be wondering what they're going to be like next year.
Wow. Is Russell Wilson an underdog?
Oh, right now?
Is he right now going into the season an underdog?
1,000%. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, you've got, and you said it earlier, you've got the Chiefs. You've got Patty Mahomes in that division. There's a lot of hype about the Raiders, I feel like.
Yeah, it seems to be. McDaniels has been there now a few years.
Yes.
If Garoppolo can stay healthy. They got weapons.
It's kind of crazy to say this, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Denver. I mean, they looked horrible last year.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like
he turns it around, Luke. Like he was so bad last year. He was Nathan Peterman last year.
He was.
Can this guy turn it around? That's a no. That
Yeah.
silence is a no.
Can he turn it around? I think that if I had to, my gut instinct right now would be that him and Sean Payton are just not going to see eye to eye.
Doesn't seem.
Well, he's already gone up to him and said, "What about all these? Like you're kissing babies every day and shaking hands. Like just be a quarterback." It's like he can't stand the diva already.
Yes, and when they made that, situation when Sean signed over there, that was my first thought. There's a lot of rumors, and you hear it in the league, you're in the locker room, you hear about different coaches. I'm sure it's the way in every sport. And the stories that you would hear about Sean Payton were stories you would, think you would hear about a guy making $40 million and, a 10-year Pro Bowler.
Right.
Like that was kind of some of the decisions that he made off the field. You would hear these rumblings that he lived the life of a rock star, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we've seen a couple photos, I think, have surfaced.
Yeah. He got the Urban Meyer treatment a couple times.
So that's, and there's a lot of things that I've heard through the grapevine.
Right.
Yeah.
So to have that kind of personality in, like you said, O-Dog, or parts, to mix with kind of Russell's, diva style, his brand, if you will, somebody's going to have to kind of take a back seat, and I don't know how that works.
Well, we were talking about him yesterday, and both these guys said Pete Carroll must have sniffed something out on Russell, basically.
Mm-hmm.
There
was some sniffing going on.
This is, and I have a lot of love for Pete.
Right.
And I think a lot of his players do. But what I kind of scratch my head at sometimes is we've had guys, I wouldn't even say Russ is in this category, but we've had guys in the past, that kind of have issues with Pete for a little bit. Usually everyone comes back around. What I laugh is
because they have to.
Yes. But where I laugh is I'm like, if Pete didn't allow this, like no one in the NFL would. Right. Pete runs, we practice hard, we competed hard. I'm not saying that. But when it comes to like the discipline style and that sort of thing, it's the most relaxed place in the NFL by a lot.
Really?
So it's like Pete kind of is that guy who knows what's going on and doesn't say much, but then when it like crosses the line, it's like you got to go now. Like you've got to leave. And I think that's probably what happened with Russ. Yeah. Maybe it was a little late, to be honest, where I don't think Russ was not talented at the time, but what Russ was trying to accomplish and what Pete was trying to accomplish were two very different things.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, it worked out well with Geno Smith last year, right? Like he had a great season statistically in terms of winning. They got to the playoffs.
I'm surprised. I'm catching a lot of heat because it is a homer take, but to me, everyone wants to talk about the NFC West and being like, oh, it's pretty much all said and done, the Niners.
Right.
I think that's ridiculous.
Is that because of Brock Purdy?
That's one. And the second one is, Steve Wilkes as their D coordinator, he was the head guy in Arizona, didn't have a ton of success there. To me, it's like you lose DeMeco Ryan, and Brock Purdy is very average as far as his talent goes. They have a ton of weapons around him, which helps. Getting Bosa back is a huge ordeal. But it's an offensive league now. Let's not kid ourselves. It is an offensive league, and the Seahawks are rolling in there with Geno Smith going into year 2, had a great year last year. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and the reports of this new dude, JSN, is everybody I've talked to in that organization said he's just a freak. We forget they've got Noah Fant at tight end still.
Yes.
It's like, and they've got Kenneth Walker running back. This offense, it should be absolutely loaded. The problem they're going to run into is their defense. Now, there's a lot of questions. Tariq Woolen last year balled out. They drafted a kid extremely high there, Witherspoon. He's hurt. Jamal Adams is hurt. So I do think there's a lot of questions revolving their defense. But that is not just I'm not just giving the Niners the check that they're going to win the division.
Okay. Yeah, it feels like the only team.
Hang on a sec. Well said, Parts.
Feels like the only team, maybe the Chiefs would be included in this, but they got a tough division. Feels like the Eagles winning the NFC East is what people are like, lock it in. Yet Cowboy fans, like, they have a reason to be pretty loud, too. They had a great season last year.
Agreed.
And they are loaded with talent themselves.
But are they anybody picking them?
Well, it doesn't seem like it. It's more so, I think, because you're pumping the tires of Philly, though. It's not that you're taking away from Dallas.
For sure. I couldn't agree with that take more. I mean, Dallas is a very good team, but the Eagles, on paper, are outrageously talented. And what I think is going to be tough for anyone who plays Philly is that interior defensive line. I mean, they've got Jalen Carter now. I know he had some off-field issues or whatever, but and then they've got, I think it's Jordan Davis, who's also a Georgia guy. Fletcher Cox is in there. I mean, imagine if you're an offensive line and you're like, yo, this is who we're gearing up for on the interior. And when they sub one of these dudes out, they just bring in an absolute monster who's completely fresh, who's ready to rip my head off. That's not a fun situation.
No, it's not.
So
No, it's not.
I agree that the Cowboys are good, but the Eagles right now, this roster is incredible.
All right. Well.
You seem sad. Eh?
No. Listen, you know what I am? I'm motivated.
This was a turn of events.
This was a shocking
I didn't
turn of
see
events.
this coming.
I have a feeling there were a lot of people around here that knew this was coming. Because I was talking to the grappler before the show, and we were talking about who was going to get the pick tonight. And I'm like, I don't know. And I mentioned, and grappler, you can attest to this. So I was like, I actually haven't heard from Luke. I'll get to him when he comes in at 6.
That should have been the first sign. That should have been the first sign.
That should have been the first sign. And then, and to be fair to him, I hadn't reached out either. But I was so confident that whenever we connected,
there it is, Party. Look, Party.
Will defend
O'Win
championship
Willson.
on his
own, like
No,
a
you can
pathetic
pick
loser.
somebody up.
Maybe I'll do that. You're right. Maybe my pursuit of a partnership.
Be careful. Be
Against
careful who
today.
you pick up. You're
I
a great player. You're a great
know
player.
I am.
I don't want you to, be brought down by someone.
And
I
there's
don't need
snakes
anybody.
everywhere.
There are a
is
lot of
snakes
weasels.
everywhere.
A lot of weasels out there. Owen Wilson.
yes.
Owen Wilson is officially established, and I am Marty Jannetty. I am Marty Jannetty. I'm all the Hulksters out there when you went Hollywood.
Party, let's have a great season.
Let's have a great one.
All right. Good luck to you guys. You're on the Lions tonight, plus 3.5. What a start. You're on Dan Campbell, the Detroit Lions. Owen Wilson has been established. Team Hayes is now back on an island, but it's all good. I got a lot of rich history of picking winners all by myself. And that's what is going to have to commence as of today. Luke, good seeing you, buddy. We'll be
Great
doing
to be
it all
back.
year.
Yep.
There he is, Luke Willson. All right, we'll come back to you up the game again one more time. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
Shocking developments. Shocking, we'll call them.
Yeah, I got to be honest. Not too many things happen on this show without me, sniffing it out or being heavily involved. I had no idea that was
Dude,
coming.
do you know how hard it was for me when you kept chirping like O-Dog and I was going to say, oh, yeah, just wait until you see what O-Dog and Oh, yeah, you were just ripping me and you're like, you're a loser and this.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're going to get one coming to you.
Yep. That one stung. I got listen right before we're in here taking pictures.
You were yucking it up.
I was like, man, we're gonna rock here. It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait. Like this guy's got no chance.
Yeah.
And then the hostage letter.
Wow.
Immediately he reads
I
it
thought
out.
that was weird when he opened his notebook. He's like, I got to read something. I'm like, that's weird.
That was weird. But even when he was reading it, I'm like, I don't care. Go ahead, finish your statement. What are you going to say? Like, I thought at the end he was going to, O's a loser and we're back. And nope, big turn of events here. The biggest breaking news of the day is not that Travis Kelce will not be playing tonight.
No.
It's that Team Luke Bryan is officially over.
Yes.
Dead.
It's done. And I will not be accepting him back into the
Joe,
fold.
put up the board. Oh, don't worry.
I don't
about
want
that.
him back. It's over.
No, that's fine. Joe, put up the board again, please. Team O'Win Willson. O'Win Willson.
I love that just at the bottom it says no compensation. Will defend championship on his own.
Look at him
On
by
his own.
himself there. Look at his face by himself. It's pathetic.
I had a good friend of mine text in that after tonight it will be 0-1 Wilson.
Oh, I like that.
After the Chiefs roll tonight.
Really? A good friend, huh?
A
Who,
very
Dave?
good friend. No,
Dave?
a very good friend. A very smart individual.
what if you
Someone
got
I might have to lean on.
I already
at some
know it
point.
was Darcy Tucker because he wouldn't have brought it up.
No?
He wouldn't have brought it up.
No, Tux, I'm sure, is on the Chiefs tonight. I'd be shocked if he wasn't.
Yeah, because I mean that's what it is. It's payback because you stole Tux from O.
Maybe I got
technically friendship,
maybe I got to
right?
call Tux. Maybe Tux would want to get in on the act.
That would be pretty neat.
He knows his football. You want to play a clip here, Grappler? What do you got here?
It's a little 1 second piece of sound that I think perfectly describes your reaction to Luke jumping ship.
What? What? Yeah. That was staggering, man. That was staggering. That was.
I honestly, I for a second, I felt a little bit bad.
No.
For you. You were like, oh my god, like how could you do that? It was a legit breakup.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking, man. O-Dog, and you know what bothers me more than anything is O-Dog and Company doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, yeah, keep talking because you got one coming your way.
I wanted O-Dog and Company to be around.
What is the equivalent of that? Like you show up to a date and a guy walks in with that girl. Like,
yeah, but
something like that.
It's beyond that.
Oh, it's walking in with that girl and she leaves with another guy.
Yeah,
is what it is.
And you've been with her for a while, and you thought it was going really well.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
your job.
It's just a complete sandbagging by O'Win Wilson. O'Win Wilson.
I love our team. I
hate it.
love our team.
You got it. You got to fit that on hats though.
They'll find a way. I'm sure they'll find a way.
Wilson.
I think
I gotta tell you. Me and Luke do it anyway. We're not like super buddies, but we have combos about football and this guy and what are they like and different philosophies. But now they're going to be even heightened. Like now our time is really our time. Football combos, coffee, like strategy. I love it. Yeah. And I love Luke Willson.
Okay. Well, I can't wait for the chain to kick off tonight, man. That group chat, if the Chiefs roll tonight, do you know how obnoxious I'm going to be tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you to brace for it, man. It is going to be off the charts because I love the fact that you two have reconnected. Let's not forget, the marriage was toxic. The last time these two were together, it was a disaster.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
Yes, well, you guys were horrible together. And now you're on the Lions to rekindle your relationship.
Yeah.
Your relationship is rekindling based on the Lions getting plus 3.5 tonight at Arrowhead.
Dan Campbell,
Jerry Goff.
His clock management. Jerry Goff and Dan Campbell and his clock management.
You watch out for Jerry Goff. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay. All right.
Torpedo session.
Yeah, we'll see what he's got, man. I think it'll be a shootout tonight. I do. I'm looking forward to it. And this is a big night. Like, this is, in a way, bigger than the Super Bowl because you're just starting the voyage. Right? The Super Bowl is amazing. It's a party. It's a celebration of the season. But once it's over, it's done. So we're just getting started.
I know, but there's
tonight in the NFL. I love it.
Is there a way that there can be overreaction Friday tomorrow?
Absolutely. I think it's more based around the Lions. Right, because I think everyone understands who the Chiefs are, what they are, what they're going to be. Kelsey's out, Jones is out.
Don't kid yourself. Any Lions loss is the Lions are still the Lions.
Yes, and I would go as far as to say if they win big tonight, people will get a little bit too hyper. Like, I knew they were for real. It's their division. Like, relax, it's still the Lions.
Yeah.
I think anything around the Lions, if it's extreme one way or the other, will be a massive overreaction.
Yeah. And Luke just said it. If they can't make a play in that division this year of all years, shame on them.
Shame on them. Yeah, shame on them.
Oof.
Well, shame on Luke Wilson.
Else,
shame on Luke Wilson.
Wow.
Shame on O'Win Wilson.
What a
O'Win Wilson is a great name. It's just a great. It combines our names, winning, a pedigree, a lifestyle.
Yeah,
everything is in there.
Yeah, it is. I can't deny that.
Now you just need success.
Play the what again? Play it again.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Such a loud, violent what? What?
Yeah,
I was sick. I felt like I was on a
that was
Delta
a surprise.
airplane.
Yeah, like that. That was
you
the
got
biggest
Biohazard
surprise.
by Luke Willson.
I did. My equivalent of being on a Delta airline on the way to Barcelona from Atlanta was what happened 20 minutes ago.
And Luke Willson came out of the crapper and just laid it down.
He was a biohazard. Biohazard. All right, you know where to catch the game tonight. It can be heard right here on TSN Radio. You can watch it on TSN, right? We home of the NFL, baby.
Ready to rock.
Anything football, CFL, NFL, if you want it, you got to get it at TSN. It's a thing of beauty. And it starts tonight. Go time. Chiefs minus 3.5. Team O'Win Willson are on the Lions. You're on the Chiefs?
I'm on the Chiefs.
I'm on the Chiefs, too. I would have been on the Chiefs anyway.
Yeah.
I think Mahomes goes off tonight. Watch yourself. All right. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes. We appreciate all the help. Everyone for tuning in today, radio, TV, podcast, web. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
Luke Willson, my pardsy, 4 p.m.
Oh, shut down.